Welcome back to Ferris Sports Update. Time to check in with Ferris State football again, and joined by head coach Tony Annese. And Coach, welcome back to the show.
Thanks, Rob.
Last week we had you on going into National Signing Day, and now coming out of National Signing Day. Just talk about the 28-member class that you were able to sign last week.
Yeah, just relieved it's over with. Give my staff a lot of credit. You know, we beat the bushes hard. Found some really quality players all over the country, and so we feel good about that. We feel like there's a lot of athletes in the group. You know, we've been fortunate enough to have a lot of guys who are really athletic, and we lost quite a few of the athletes on defense, and so we just really wanted to, put a good group together with good balance and still have the same philosophies we have of being hard to tackle in space, and so we really think we hit a home run with our talent level.
You mentioned going across the country, and obviously with the success you've had, how does that help you maybe recruit nationally?
Yeah, name recognition's huge. People know us all over the nation. I was in Nashville this weekend speaking at a Glazier clinic, and everybody seemed to know how we'd done, and so it's pretty cool, having the opportunity to go speak for Glaziers and go to a lot of places throughout the nation. I get a lot of emails from people who are saying, hey, I got this kid, and I heard you speak in Virginia or Baltimore or San Francisco or Dallas or Houston, and those are all places I've spoke at. And so those connections are huge, and the branding of Ferris State is obviously helping us to get better players.
Obviously, over the years, you've had a lot of Michigan kids and another strong class from Michigan, 17 kids. Just talk about the talent you were able to bring in from the state and maybe the relationships with the high school programs.
No, absolutely. It's, getting some of these guys like Xavier Wade, obviously Ryan Oshnock being one of our former assistants here helps us in regards to that. And so, happy about that kind of situation. Obviously, getting two gifts from Muskegon again. Those guys are all for the most part, former assistants of mine, and so, getting Bo Shanks and C.J. Jefferson obviously critically important, and then, locally, I think we still did really well, up going down to Kalamazoo with Darius Pruitt or Cam down there in Battle Creek, Wirtz, and then coming up, Cody Crone from Rockford. So, I probably missed a West Michigan guy, but still West Michigan's great. And then, Detroit's great connections for us. So, getting a kid like Chase Ford is huge out of Groves, and Le'Veon Fields out of Mumford. And there's just a lot of connections and a lot of guys who want to help us. And ultimately, I always tell my coaches, make sure, if a kid ends up failing here, make sure he goes home and he knows he failed himself. It wasn't our efforts that failed him. And so we're 100% committed to recruiting a group of young men that we're 100% committed to helping them be successful and 100% committed to them getting a degree and those kind of things. So I'm not saying it's 100% perfect, but we are committed to doing our best.
Are there any specific position groups you went out and tried to address in terms of recruiting this year?
Well, we got 5 guys who had played quarterback, so I like the idea that we're getting athletes at quarterback and guys that can play in multiple positions. So we feel good about that group, and we're going to find, 2 of those guys are going to be really competitive, at least 2 at quarterback, but the others potentially we can move around and put in good spots. The other thing is, I think our ball skill, our ability to make picks in the secondary, that's really improved a lot. And so that's something we're really trying to continue, is just having to see guys on the field making a lot of plays and having great ball skill. And then obviously I mentioned this, but the basketball part of it, that component, obviously, they're athletes if they can play that game.
That was kind of a common theme, not only Xavier Wade, who obviously is going to try to play both sports like Deshaun Thrower, but a number of guys that were competitive on the basketball floor as well, and some great athletes.
Yeah, a lot of them. And so, like I said, I watched Bo Shanks score 34 points in a game. There's guys, Darius Pruitt's a really good basketball player from Kalamazoo Central, and they're a powerhouse program. So, yeah, we feel CJ's a good basketball player there at Muskegon. Xavier's obviously a huge basketball player at West Ottawa and one of the best teams in West Michigan. And so, yeah, that theme resonates with us. We like those kind of athletes, but even some big guys that we got, Keith and Haas Manis, both those guys are big guys who play basketball, so we love that.
Obviously, these guys coming in, when you combine them with the last couple recruiting classes you've had, talk about the depth you've been able to kind of establish here in the program.
Yeah, I feel great about, our retention's been unbelievable. So kids aren't falling off here at all. They come here and they want to stay, and they've been patient. So even though we lost a lot of guys on defense, people are going to find out that we reloaded pretty well. I feel good about that group of men that we have on that side of the ball. And so it's been one of those situations where, we're keeping guys in the program. They're willing to wait their turn, and so yeah, we got great group of freshmen ahead of this recruiting class, and we've been able to play kids here and there, so the growth of the program has been good, and our depth is really solid.
The success you've had here over the past few years in terms of recruiting, as you go out and try to sell the university, does that help itself with the success you've had?
Well, the university helps itself by just having great academic programs. So, the uniqueness of our programs helps a lot, because we get young men who say, hey, I want to be in construction management, and that's where I'm going. And then, that's an easy get. So we get some easy gets because of our academic programs. Yeah, and then beyond that, I always ask them, how bad do you want to win? Is winning a force in making your decision? And if it's yes, then I'm going to pursue them. If it's no, then I really don't have an interest in them. And obviously we've won at a significant level here, and people say, hey, I want to be with a winning program. And if that's part of their selection process or their vetting as far as determined schools, it keeps us in the game. And it's kind of nice to say, hey, we've beaten this team this many times. That's not negative recruiting, that's just stating a fact. And so I don't like to negatively recruit, but I will say we've beaten this team this many times, or here's the comparison of scores between this school and us. Who would you rather come play for? And so we certainly use that, but that's just again stating the fact and the success of our program.
And finally here, obviously this class will come in the fall. What does it take for these guys to step in and obviously be contributors down the road?
Well, first off, it always takes just an extraordinarily positive attitude, because any time I'm doing official visit, we have a players panel, and at the end I always ask, hey, how many of the guys in the players panel were first team All-State? And they all raise their hand. So everybody's a first team All-Stater in college football, particularly at Ferris State. So then you're dealing with being patient, having an open mind, willing to work, and just really doing what you need to do to help yourself be better, both in your strength training and your off-season conditioning. But beyond that, just having a positive attitude to try to, support the team the best you can. So I want a young man who comes in and says, I may not play for a year, I may not play for 2, or I may not play for 3. Zach Sealer didn't play for 2 straight years, didn't play. And so to have an open mind that you're going to do whatever the team needs for you to, contribute, that's the attitude we need to have. And our guys have been really great at that. They call them scout players, but scout players are critically important. And this past year, our scouts were incredible, and it helped us be, a great football team as well.
Well, Coach, congratulations again on the recruiting class. Looking forward to spring ball, and obviously start of another season coming up here late this fall.
Thanks, Rob. Hopefully it gets warm. We start March 13th, so I'm a little bit nervous about the weather.
We'll be back with more Ferris Sports Update right after this.